and then I forget to like record. There you go. Okay. So it's so funny because normally I sit down and I write out your all's trainings. That's why I think I'm going to start doing weekly or bi-weekly or something action steps so you guys can check in and like know how to check in between calls where it's easier and you don't have to listen to a replay. So that's what I'm trying to create right now on the back end. I've been doing a lot of stuff on the back end of my business about how to show up and support you guys more fully, right? And like just explain, my framework better and how to get support like when you guys don't have access to me in between calls. So that's coming. But this morning I sat down and I set an intention for you guys and I really sat into it. I was like, what's been coming up? And so we're going to kind of do today's call a little bit differently, and I'm just going to see how it goes. But what I want to know is what's been coming up? Is there like a word that's been coming up for anybody? Because with my private clients, there's been one thing in particular that's been coming up so much with them lately, and even myself. And I'm wondering if it's with everybody. So I'm curious. I don't want to like say it. I'm going to say it in a minute, but is there anything that you're like, I feel like this is the thing. Like, I don't trust myself, or I don't feel worthy enough, or I feel like it's far away and I don't have evidence, but I'm really curious. You kind of dive into that, what it is that feels like something that's been coming up. Tired. Yeah. Good to notice. Right. And I think, I don't know how everybody else has been feeling. Anxiety. Let it be easy. Yeah. 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 I've been feeling that too. And what's crazy, the tiredness. I've been feeling very tired lately, and I'm just letting myself feel tired. So I wonder if it's everybody, because a lot of my clients have been telling me that lately. So yeah. Okay. Let's see. Sorry, I'm just going to mute. Hi, Heather. How are you? Thank you for muting. After eclipse, I felt very tired. Yeah, there's been some weird cosmos stuff going on. So I was just wondering if it was just me or if it was like everybody else feeling it. But the big thing that's been coming up a lot is trust. So we're going to play around with trust today. Yeah, and that's okay. You've been working really hard, right? And guys, I want to be very clear is that when we work really hard, and there's nothing wrong with hard work. I love a good hard work day. Like I not hard, but like a lot to do. I like doing things, right? But I think what happens is that a lot of us get caught up in like, I've been working really hard. And I know that's gonna land for a few of you because a few of you have messaged me about this. About working hard. And then I think we get caught up in this idea of like, well, can I take on more? Right? How much can I take on if I don't trust myself to take time off or to slow down? So I want to know where we're at with trust. And I'm going to ask you a few things around trust. So the first thing is that I want you to feel into your body. I just want you to take a few deep breaths. I want you just to arrive here. This space and this time is for you guys to connect back to what you already know, right? Like this is your all's wisdom. I'm just here guiding the boat. It's your all's wisdom, right? Yeah, right? I know it's crazy because I'm telling you, I know this sounds weird, but when I sit down and I set my intention for you guys and I kind of meditate on it, I always know I can feel what's coming up for people. And I'm sure it has to do with what I hear from my private clients too, right? I had a big breakthrough, booked a trip to Argentina and going on a 3-day birthday trip. Oh my gosh, I love this. So your birthday's in November. I love that. Okay, well, I love that for you, right? So I just want you to take a big breath, arriving here in your body. And I want to ask you guys first and foremost, how safe does it feel to arrive and just be in your body and not in your brain? So 10's like, yeah, I'm okay to just be in my body. Even in this container, I can just arrive in my body. Or is there ever resistance? And I know at least one of you have resistance because we've talked about it a lot, but I want to know, how does it feel? Does it feel okay to just tap into your body and arrive here and kind of turn your brain off for a little bit? And I want you to notice if there's resistance around that, because what that does, good to notice. What that does is that tells us how much our brain and our ego is in the driver's seat and why things might not be happening the way that we want them to because we're doing it from a very logical perspective, right? And I want you guys to really think about this. I've been going back through and looking all of my social proof and my client testimonials and my client wins, and they really do blow me away. And almost none of them are logical. And Renee can attest to this. Like she just had like every time she tells me her numbers, it blows my mind. Like absolutely blows my mind, right? And it doesn't make any logical sense, from a marketing perspective. If she had hired like an um, online business manager or a marketing person, they would have looked at her account and been like, these numbers don't make sense with what you're doing. And not because she's not doing it right. It's nothing around that. It's how much her numbers just jump. And not once, but like consistently, and even her cash, right? So another thing is what I want you guys to notice is that, hold on, how do I want to articulate that? Things in my world are not normal. And I want you guys to really, okay, I'll circle back around in just a second, but I want you guys to notice like where in your brain are you thinking, like logically thinking, like it has to be this way. I have to get my goal from this way. I have to do this. And it's very logical and it's very brainy, for lack of a better term, from the brain, a nine, exactly, right? Right. And the question was, how safe do you feel to arrive in your body and let go of your brain? Does it feel, and like 10's like, yeah, it feels safe. I'm allowed to just, in this container, I can drop into my body and I can let my brain go. At least for this moment in time in this container, I can do it. Good to notice. Good to notice. Because if that number is low, right? So I don't feel safe. So 3 would be like, I don't feel safe. And guys, if you need to like reverse these, because I know my scale is different from some of your alls, but noticing if it feels safe or not is the point. Do I feel safe to just be in my body and not be in my brain? And the thing with this is that I want you to really look at, and Renee, maybe you can drop this in the chat, and I don't know if you can articulate it easily in the chat, but like how much of the results that you've seen has been from a logical brain perspective. Like we do work on strategy in your container, but it's way more the alignment with the strategy than it is the actual strategy. Exactly. Exactly. Right. It's rare, right? And when you were in your old like business coach's world, do you feel like it was more in your brain? And maybe that's why it wasn't aligning? Yeah. So I want you guys to just see, and it's never, when I talk about my client success or my success or whatever, it's never to be like, wow, look at this person. It's to show you what's possible when we let go of our brain. Our brain is literally there for protection. It's not there for growth. Our brain is not wired for growth, right? It's not. And that's why I have you guys tap in with your body, because it's a direct line to the super unconscious, which Renee lovingly let me know that is a real thing. But it is. There's a reason why your brain only lets you get so close to the root. And that's why we do it from the body. And that's why I tell you guys to really make sure that you are doing this work and setting your the strategy, the logical side of your business from what your body's telling you. So Ginger, for you or anybody else that's on this call, how do you start to feel safe to get into your body? Is there any wisdom there? So if you, instead of feeling into the safety of it, feel into the not safety of it, right? So grab onto that 3, feel into that feeling, that energy, that sensation, that emotion, and notice. And you can even ask it, guys. That's why I have you do sensations, because the sensation is literally there just to give you information. And so you can actually ask it. You can say, what do I need for me to feel safe to arrive in my body? Or why don't I feel safe to be in my body? That's important information to notice, right? I'm missing control. And what does control give you? Like start getting clear on control to me. And I think I know yours because I know your story, right? I know your background with your childhood. And I think for you, the control is about safety, ironically, right? Of like, if I'm in control, I can be in control of what might be something bad. Yeah, right. And I want you to just start noticing this story, and I want you to ask yourself, do I know with 100% certainty that that story is true? So if the story is, I can't be in my body, I need control. It need to be logical. I need to have a strategy. I need. Guys, needing is like 2-year-old need energy is out of alignment energy. Not that it's bad, but just notice what I need and what I desire are different things. What I desire is very grounded. What I need is almost tantrumy. I need this to work. I need this to happen. I need it. Notice the difference, right? And so when that needing energy comes out, we know there's something deeper to be looked at. Does that make sense to everyone? So getting clear on what is it that I need. And I know that's a little confusing because then I say, well, what do you need for it to go higher? But what do you like need to feel safe? Because guys, if we don't feel safe, we won't allow ourselves to experience it because our brains are wired for safety, right? Yesterday I was at the supermarket and completely forgot that I was there to buy, and I frantically running around until I just stood in the middle of my eyes closed and asked my body, right? I know, guys, I'm not. This is not some woo woo stuff. Like this is like sounds kind of woo woo sometimes, but our bodies are super intelligent. They index so much more information. Like yes, our brain indexes all the information, supercomputer, right? But our brain is the line to it. And I think that's where people get confused on like the missing part of like just doing mindset. Mindset is great, but it's only one part of the puzzle, right? So let's go back to trust. Okay. So I want you to think about the amount of money that you want. And just notice, I'm not even going to say in October. I just want to know when you ask yourself, what amount of money do I want or desire right now? Because, guys, I say differentiate between want and desire, but I use them interchangeably, but know that they are different energies, if that makes sense. So, desire is very neutral, very like grounded energy. And notice what number comes up. Just notice, like, what number do I want? What number do I desire? What is my body telling me that I want and desire? I need steady, predictable, growing income to feel safe. Property that I own in 2 countries. Good. Desire 2 million. Okay. Good to notice. So I just want you to like feel into that number of whatever it is you want. And I've been doing this a lot lately, so we're going to go into this. It just came to me, so we're going to go with it. I want you to imagine that number that you desire as a bubble. Where is the bubble? Is it close to you? Is it far away? Is it like in arm's reach? Where is it? Start orienting yourself, orienting, is that the word? To yourself to where this bubble is. Notice if it's floating, if it's on the ground, is it a color? Is it black and white? Is it small? Is it grainy? Notice where the number is that you want. Notice where the number is that you want. And guys, I'm trying to go a little bit slower because I know sometimes I get going and I feel like I go fast enough for you guys not to ground in. So today I'm going a little bit slower. So just FYI, I'm doing that on purpose. So just let me know if that works better for you all, or if you're like, no, go faster. So just take your time here. And if you don't mind, maybe drop it in the chat so I know you guys are there. Like, where's your bubble at? Take your time. Take your time. So Heather, it's we're imagining the number, and it doesn't have to be the number for October. It's just going into this desiring energy of I desire this. It feels very grounded. The number that comes up, I desire this amount. It could be any amount. It doesn't have to be for October. It can be any amount. And I want you to imagine it as a bubble and notice how close the bubble is. Is it far away? Is it floating? Is it on the ground? Is it grainy? Is it black and white? Just notice everything you can about it and just drop it in the chat. When you can tell me where it is, or you can just say, I've got it. Like, I just want to know that everybody's on the same page of where this bubble is in front of my head, staring at me, floats away. That is so good to notice. I want you, I'm gonna do something right now, and it might be like, whoa, how does it feel when it floats away? Notice the sensation or the emotion. It can be either one of how it goes when it floats away. What comes up for you? And then I want you to ask yourself, oh, you're okay with it floating away? Let me know if you're okay with it. I want to know because I want to know how your brain is tracking this, right? To me, floating away is like, oh, it's going away. So I'm curious what floating is to you. Floating in the air, but going from left to right and back. Okay. How does that feel, guys? Like, does that feel safe? It feels like it's not mine. Good to notice. So let me know. Hey, lost internet now on my phone. Okay. So did you hear what we're doing, Heather, about the bubble? Like I said it, but I want to make sure you heard it about whatever you desire. We're going big today. Whatever you desire. Okay, good. Yeah, where's the bubble? Not okay, but like is what money does. It goes away. Okay, now perfect. This is exactly what I wanted to hear from you. So, how natural and normal does that feel? You just said it always happens. This is what money does. So, the floating, it going away feels natural and normal. If money always going away feels natural and normal, that becomes our identity. That becomes, because actually the way our brain is wired, if you really want to get down to it, is to actually prove to ourselves that what we believe is true, right? So that's why the thought cycle is really important. That's why mindset is really important, with the caveat of not getting into toxic positivity and all of that. But like, it's important because our brain will literally try to find all the evidence of why what we believe is true. And that then furthers the cycle of our identity. I'm a person that money always goes away from. I'm a person that doesn't hold money. I'm a person XYZ, right? I'm just going to read through the chat and I'm going to come back to this. So kind of just get curious, right? About, well, just hold on. I'm going to come back to that. Yes, it feels normal. In the past week, I'm excited about feel more distant in the week prior. Feel stressed, not realistic, fear of disappointment. Yeah, yeah. Good to notice, guys. We want to let this stuff come up. Okay, so what I want to ask you from here is, imagine that you guys want to lose, like, I'm sure, I mean, we're women. I feel like all of us at some point have wanted to lose weight or tone up or look better. If that doesn't work for you, find another metaphor that does. But I want you to imagine if you're a person that identifies as being healthy. I'm a healthy person. What actions do you take when you're healthy? For me, I identify as being pretty healthy. I have my days like anybody else, but I work out, I eat very well, I'm very active. But if I identified as somebody that wasn't healthy, and you guys know this, I do have this identity as well. I've just done enough work on it to separate it out of being sick. And when I'm sick and I don't feel well, what do? I cancel yoga. I don't go out. I don't see people. I'm in my house. Like, and it cycles because that's my identity and I'm taking action from that place. And guys, this is very different than when you're actually sick. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about when you're taking action and steps from the identity of something. So I want you guys to ask yourself, if I was the person that had what I want, what's that identity? Successful, free, safe. And then what does that person do? What are the action steps that they're doing that I'm not doing? Because that's the missing piece. When we get very clear on what we desire, what feels safe to it for us to experience, what feels close to us, what feels natural and normal to us, our brain will allow us to say, oh, I clearly see that the next step is this person, as this person, as this next level version of myself, as this next level CEO version of myself, I do XYZ. But your brain won't always allow you to see that information, even though it's usually sometimes glaringly obvious, because it doesn't feel safe to experience what's on the other side. So I want to know, when I ask you guys, what is the missing piece of who you're being right now and who you would be if you already had what you wanted? And I'm going to circle this back around. We're doing this strategically. There's something we're going to do at the end, but I really want to get clear on, if I felt safe with money, if I felt safe in my business, if I felt safe to be in my body and just listen to the wisdom that I already know instead of my cute little brain in the driver's seat all the time, what would I be doing differently? Or what would I do that, like, what it might be, I already know what to do and I'm not doing it. And I think if that's the case, then there's a safety aspect to that. But just start asking yourself questions. Childlike curiosity is so powerful, and we can just poke around at it and be like, huh, what is this? Why is this here? What's going on? And it will tell you, right? I do more content and book writing and press and less service. Okay. So how much of that are you doing? Ginger, I don't know if you know this. I don't know. I feel like I've talked to you about it, but maybe not. I do weekly live trainings and Aligned as Fuck, and I'm gonna do more. I'm gonna give you guys more information about how the membership is evolving, which I'm really excited. But the Aligned as Fuck is my free community, so you guys all have access to that, but you guys have more access to me, right? So in my Aligned as Fuck, you guys could go into the Aligned as Fuck replay thing, and I mean, there's only one replay in there right now, but that's where they're at. But I did a training over this, over input versus output. And I think that would really land for you. I don't know if you've been on that call. I feel like you have been on some of those calls. You might have been on that one, but it's so much in alignment with that. So you just told me, okay, this, yeah. So think about that, right? Like think about how much you already know that XYZ is out of alignment, but it's still the majority of your work. So the question becomes why? Is it because it feels natural and normal? Is it because you're afraid of what's going to come from the stuff that you want? Is it because you're just identified with being a person that doesn't have money or doesn't hold money? What I'm hearing is that you get money, that you don't hold it. Am I understanding that correctly? Yeah. So let me know. She would invest, invest, invest. I love that. So invest in yourself. Like, are you talking about investing in like, coaching or team? Or are you talking about investing in like banking, like banking, like does that make sense? But not banking, but like stocks and stuff or opportunities that don't pan out. Yeah. But I want to be very clear here. When we have who on this call, I feel like everybody's going to be like, yes. Who on this call, first of all, guys, we've talked about this fear of disappointment. I have that. It's a thing, right? And we don't want to allow ourselves to get too excited. But what I want to know is how many of you feel like you get so close. All these opportunities come and then they just go away and they don't pan out and then you get disappointed and it just kind of tumbles. How many of you ever felt like this? I actually don't feel like this. I feel like things kind of work out for me, but I feel like I do a lot of alignment work for that reason because I know I've studied how my people buy from me, and I know that when I'm the most aligned, I'm the most magnetic, and people buy from me that way. Now, my magnetic is not your magnetic. Your magnetic is you being authentically you, so the right people find you and pay you. But what I want to know is how many of you feel like you won't allow yourself to be as magnetic as you can be because you know that if you're really magnetic and you meet people that either you're A, going to be disappointed that doesn't work out, or B, it's going to work out and you're going to have a lot, like it's going to be confronting. You're going to be holding a lot. You're going to have more clients. There's going to be more people looking at you. I want to know how you guys feel about this. Yeah, you can be both for sure. Yeah. I mean, you're human. Like, guys, the truth is like it's not one part of us. Or that's why I say all parts of you on board because there's different parts of us that want different things and they're all fighting, right? Like one part of you really wants this and one part of you really wants this, and there's another part of you that doesn't want any of it. Like, that's why we do that parts work. That's why we're always looking at the different parts of us that do different things, right? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I want to just go back to this and I want you guys to really think about. I think what I want to hear from you guys is what is magnetic for you? Do you even know what that is, right? Do you even know what magnetic looks like for you? How do you show up when you're magnetic? What things make you magnetic? What gets you into your magneticness? Do you know how to reverse engineer that? Do you even know what that feels like? Do you even know how to access that part of you? Does it feel, and the other thing is, does it feel safe to access that part of you? And for some of you, um, oh yeah, Krista dropped off. For some of you, I've had this one-to-one conversation with you where you don't feel safe to be your most magnetic self because of all the bad things that might happen when things are going well. So it's really important to notice that, right? If I call, we'll watch the rest of the replay. You're welcome. Okay. So I want to hear where you guys are at and if you need help with this because you guys are all three of you that are left on the call will definitely get clients and business from learning how to do this. All three of you, because I know your businesses, I know you, like all three of you are in that space of like if I'm very in alignment with what I want and how I'm getting it, people will buy. And I think when it comes down to having a lot of opportunities and things don't pan out, I really feel like there's a fear there. It's like it gets close, right? It gets close, but not quite almost. Like everything's like close, but it never pans out. If that's the way you feel, there is absolutely a fear there. And we want to get clear on why it's there and what it's protecting you from. So drop in the chat. If you need more time, let me know. But I want to know Do you know what it feels like to be the most magnetic version of yourself? So drop that in the chat. Let's start there. You know what it feels like to be the most magnetic version of yourself. So, and we can do this on a scale too, because it's always on to yes or no. So 10's like, yeah, I know what that is. I know how that feels. I know. Yes, I know. Okay. It was like, so Heather, maybe for you, drop the number. Sometimes instead of doing yes or no, that's why we do numbers, because our brains sometimes love to be like, I don't know, maybe. So feel into it from your body from the number. I feel like I do, but like I said, okay, good to know this. 7. Cool. And now I want to ask you, how safe does it feel for you to be the most magnetic version of yourself? And your brains are probably going to freak out a little bit because it's going to be like, I just told you that I don't know what that means, or I don't know. Just go with it. Yeah, just go with it, right? Or your brains might freak out on this one, and that's okay. Just notice where you're getting hung up with this. How safe does it feel to be the most magnetic version of myself? For me, magnetic means being in my feminine. Oh, me too. That is a big thing that I have been working on lately, because my whole life I've been very in my masculine. I think for somebody like me that has like trauma background, we tend to overcompensate with that masculine. And it's also what's gotten me where I am in the world. Like I've been able to have a lot of success from that masculine side. And I really struggle. I mean, I've gotten a lot better with floating into it, but I struggle to hold on to it, because anytime anything happens where I feel like it makes me unsafe, I go straight back to defaulting to that very like alpha, very masculine. And for Ginger, for me, what helped is I actually named that part of me. That part of me is named Alex. It's a guy, and he's a soldier. Like I've actually sat down and like connected with that version of me, and he's very much in protection mode, very very much so. And what I've had to do is sit down with him and say, hey, it's okay for you to have a vacation. Do you feel safe enough to sit in the back seat? You're still there to protect me, but you're not in the driver's seat anymore. You're sitting in the back seat. So I think just for me, personifying all the things, personifying money, personifying my business, personifying all these different parts of me helps me understand the relationship I have with all these different things. And it helps me understand, oh, well, no wonder this isn't working out. Look at my relationship with this. If I hate that part of me, or if I judge that part of me, or if I don't even connect with that part of me, if that were a real relationship, well, it wouldn't be working out very well, right? Does that make sense what I'm saying? Yeah, so I don't know if that's helpful for any of you guys, but for me, that's super helpful. These parts of myself that I feel like really get in the way of me having what I want, that come up over and over and over again. I've seen a lot of different numbers on this. This is not a even some like parts therapy is still not. We don't have a way to study it. That's very much like still not validated by science. For me, I think there's enough what do I want to say here? Enough what's the evidence when it's not like hard evidence? It's like, so many people have, I don't know what I'm trying to say. Not theory, but like oh, it's on the tip of my tongue. It'll come. But like the evidence where it's like, well, out of all of my clients, they always get results, but I don't have the numbers on it, right? So for me, that's the way I see parts therapy. It's super, super powerful, but we don't actually have like the scientific background in it. I do think, and maybe Renee knows this because she has a yeah, something like that. Renee has a background in psychology, so maybe she knows a little more about this, but it's it's powerful. Parts therapy is powerful, right? So yes, for me, the mastering part is more about doing than protecting. Yeah. And noticing the secondary gain from that of like, well, what is it about doing? And is it because I have derived my worth and my self-love from doing? And guys, listen, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm a recovering 3 in the Enneagram. I'm very much learned to get my worth and my self-love from doing for a very, very long time. So it's okay. But I want you to notice that if that isn't the way that you want your life to go anymore, if you want money, which you probably do if you're in my container with ease and flow, that's actually out of alignment. That's an old identity, an old version of us that's no longer an identity. And we have to sit down with those parts of us and say, hey, You served me really well for a long time, but I no longer want you to lead. You get to be in the car, but you're not sitting in the front seat. You're not driving. You can't even touch the radio. Sit in the back, right? We got to learn to have this duality of having a relationship with those parts of ourselves, but they're still not leading. And notice if that feels safe. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I love that. Yeah. So it's like, yeah, and that's what I do, right? That's what I do parts work with myself all the time. And I'll even do parts work with like inanimate objects, like, or not inanimate object. Well, no, my business. I've done parts work with my business. I've really sat down and connected to like the soul of my business, for lack of a better term, because the reason I do this work is very heart centered. And I got off that path for a little bit when I was in a container with another mentor, and I felt so far away from the soul of my business, and that's where I felt like a big disconnect, and I it took me months to come back from that. So for me, even, yeah, right, and I know that, right, I know that, but even having like personifying and doing parts work with inanimate objects has helped me a lot, because I think it helps our brain understand what's happening, right? Okay, so let's go back to um being magnetic, right? So for those of you that don't feel safe to be magnetic, I want to ask you why. And it might even be, well, I don't even know how to be that. I don't even know how to get into that. Or it might be, oh, well, I have XYZ fear, right? Feel super magnetic right now, but I'm just tired as fuck. And that's okay, guys. And I want to be very clear here. A little secret to being magnetic as fuck is allowing yourself to just be in any state. I don't resist it when I'm tired or in a bad mood. I just let myself be. And then I come back to my magnetic version, very like to my center. But there's something about, have you ever been around somebody that's just so fucking real? And even if they're not in a great mood, they're still magnetic. Now, I would say like they're not hunched over. They're not like whatever, but they're like, I am human and I'm allowed to have bad days. That to me is way more magnetic than seeing somebody that's always on, always glowy, always perfect. I mean, you guys have seen me. Like I've been crying on calls. I've told you my stories and all the things, because I'm not like that all the time. It's not natural to be that all the time. So I want you guys to don't buy into the misunderstanding that you have to be perfect and shiny and in a box to be magnetic. The real you is the magnetic you. And actually, I would say people buy, and not in everything, but it depends. Like obviously, if you're doing like investing work, like there is a human aspect to that, and we do have numbers on this. I've actually There's a really good course that I'm taking. It's called neuromarketing, marketing with neuroscience. And it's been so interesting because we do have data on this about how people buy and buying psychology and what happens in the brain. And people do buy from people. We absolutely know that. So I feel like but I just, there is that aspect. And that's why, guys, I'm always asking about this and always asking about like, how do you feel about XYZ? How do you feel about being magnetic? Do you think you're magnetic? Do you know how to like tap into that? Because there absolutely is buying, like that's why when you see people doing e-commerce and it's a thing, not a service, they always have a brand story. They're trying to personify things because that's how humans connect, right? So I want you to really, sorry, I'm just going back through and reading this. um I'll attract too many people I don't like. Okay, that is a really big one. I want you to really sit and think about the level of what you've just discovered of like, well, I know on some level that being so okay, let me ask you guys this before I read through the rest of the chat. On a scale from 1 to 10, how much do I believe that being my magnetic self will get me more money or closer to my goal? And you can split those into two questions if that's too wordy for you guys. Let's start there. I want to know what your belief is on that first. Okay, good to notice. So, what do you believe? Hard work. What do you believe will get you what you want? I'm just reading through the chat, guys. Let's see. This just came up. A consultant talked to me about redoing my funnel to increase clients time 5, but I was like, I don't have time for my clients now. Okay, so this has come up a lot with my clients lately, where they come to me and they say, hey, I want X amount of money. Okay, let's reverse engineer it. What do you need to get that X amount of money? And they'll say X amount of clients at this price point in this container, right? But they don't have the space, like their highest container, right? The price point on their highest container is 1 to 1, and they don't have more space for 1 to 1. So what do you do? So that is very much a strategy alignment thing, right? So getting really clear, like I'm changing how I'm even working with clients because I'm noticing like what things give me energy and what things allow me to serve you guys better. And you guys know my story. I did high ticket one to one for a long time and then was like, told myself, because, quality time is my love language, right? But I can still get quality time doing this. And giving everybody that much access to me was exhausting. I feel like that's when I actually talked about that with my coach yesterday. I said, I feel like I'm trying to learn how to set boundaries and like all these things because I feel like I am at a place in my business where I don't have as much to give as I used to. And that's not to say that I don't have as much to give, but to everybody one to one. And that overflows into my personal space too, like how I get my energy in my personal time. But I think if you're really used to working hard and that was the way that you got money, it's really hard to be able to set down that mentality of like hold more, do more, be more to get what you want because it's an old identity and it's not in alignment with where you want to go, right? So for those of you that identify with that, like have to work hard, do more, be more to get more money, how safe does that feel? I want to show you where you're tying your shoelaces together and you feel like you can't move forward. That's why. Because if you believe you have to do more, be more, work more, but you don't have the capacity for it, well, how are you going to do it? Right. And that's why it feels like you're stuck or you're cycling because you're literally like have a story about that. So I'm just going to read through the chat. Within attracting a bunch of creeps. Yeah, I also have that. I think as a woman traveling in Latin America and like, I'm in a very like surf place, right? So I walking around in bikini is totally normal here, but I even have to be mindful of that because I'm like, oh, I might attract the wrong people. So I feel you on that. Especially after being like in Colombia where it's really conservative, right? So Renee, I don't know what that means. Is that Paramus? What does that mean? I don't know what that word means. Paramaeus? Primus? Premise? I don't know. Okay. Still afraid of judgment and rejection from friends if I get too successful. I think for you, like we've talked about in another call of like just I think for you, just doing it and working on the struggle when you get there is going to help you. I think for you specifically, diving too much into that, because I think for some of us, if we've had this old story around this for a long time, it's just because we're identified in with it, not because we actually still fear it. So I want you to ask your body, is this actually genuinely a fear, or is it because I'm just so used to that being my story? Yes, I have a big strategy, like big community of people. Yeah, you said neuromarketing. She's a woman. Oh, is that a person? Oh, okay. Sorry. No, this is not. This is an actual like university class. So I did not know. I don't know about that person, but thank you for letting me know. I was like, I don't know what that is. Okay, I set up the line of doing trauma work in divorce space and charging like 10K one to one. Yeah. So really good to notice. So then the question becomes, what does feel in alignment? And do you trust I want you to ask yourself, do I trust that if it did feel right and in alignment, that that's what I need? It's not do more, be more, work more. It's what feels right, what feels good, what feels nourishing, what feels exciting. How many of you feel safe to follow that? Not safe to follow the strategy or the logic or the old identity of do more, be more, or the old identity of people are going to judge me, and just trust that what feels good will lead you the right way. That's a really big one. I think for a lot of us, we've been taught so much to not trust ourselves, our intuition, but also that things can't just be that good or that easy. And I tell my one to one clients all the time your only job is to just feel good about not only your price points and your people, but how you're marketing, how you're selling, how you're doing it. That's why it's not a one size fits all strategy. We'll have these people reach out to us and say, hey, we'll help you 5x your people. But if it feels really out of alignment, and gross to you, which it sounds like not, it sounds like if you don't want to do trauma work and charge 10K, that maybe that strategy might be out of alignment for you, right? That there's a reason why that not every strategy works for every person. There's an alignment issue there, right? Good question, because I do feel ready to go even on a deeper level. Yeah, I would bet money that it's just your story. So guys, I've talked about this before, but imagine your finger in a circle on the sand and your old story. Every time you complete a circle, the circle gets deeper in the sand, gets deeper in the sand, gets deeper in the sand. But now we've started a new circle. And so you're starting in this new circle, but every once in a while you slip back in the old circle because it's so deep and so ingrained and so grooved, right? That's literally like a neural network, right? Like it's like, so sometimes we get really identified with our stories, right? So I think for you, it's just doing it. It's just doing. And what's ironic is like for you, it's doing, but for some people on the call, it's more being. So we have to always like figure out what works for us. Okay. So now I want to ask you guys. Oh, and you need to send the social media person you recommend. Yes. Well, yeah, this week I'm going slow because it's my birthday. So I will get that to you guys by next week for sure. It may be today or tomorrow, but probably by next week. I'm going slow this week. Um, her thing, her membership opens in like 2 weeks. So you guys have time for that, but I will make sure to get that to you guys. Okay. So now let's go back to safety of being magnetic. I want to go back to that. Where are your numbers at now? Did anything shift by just getting out some stuff, just talking through it, just being clear on what it is that's making you feel that way, getting clear on what it was that your brain was trying to protect you from? So now on a scale from 1 to 10, how safe is it to be your most magnetic self? 10 being like, yeah, I can do that. Feels safe. Not that I can do it, but it feels safe. Good to notice. What was it before? Was it pretty? It was a 5 to an 8. Perfect. So what was it? What was it? Was it just noticing the fear? Was it knowing that, oh, it's not actually true, it's just a story? Notice what changes that number for you. Notice what changes how you feel in your body about the thing that you know is going to take you to the next level. Notice the things that shift for you. So it's like, oh, just calling out the fear was enough. Oh, just noticing that that's just a story and it's not true. And guys, one of my favorite language patterns of all time, I don't know, you guys have definitely heard me say it, but I don't know if I've ever taught it to you. It's my favorite language pattern because it'll shift something like that for you guys. It's from the University of Santa Monica. And it is when you find out your fear or your story, because your story isn't always a fear. Sometimes your story is toxic positivity, like everything's going to work out and it's totally not working out, like that sort of thing. And how we flip the switch on that is, do I know with 100% certainty that that XYZ is true? Do I know the 100% certainty that people will judge me? And just notice by just asking yourself that, it'll lighten. So that's one. That's the beginning stage of it. A more advanced kind of, it's not a version of it, it's a different language pattern, but it's also like it's more helpful. It's, we call it forgiveness work, but I don't like using the term forgiveness. Sometimes if it is like some shame or guilt, using the word forgiveness works. But for me, I say I let go of the misunderstanding. So it would be that. Okay, so what this looks like. So drop it in the chat what your story was. So it might be like, I have to do more, be more, work more, right? Or I have a fear of holding people that are going to be hard to hold, or I have a fear of whatever your story was, right? Because none of you are out of 10 yet. So you can drop your story. And I'm going to show you this language pattern and show you how easy it is to use it and how helpful it is. Have the answer yet or plan? I know that if the plan right. Okay. So what if we try this? What if we try this? Your story is that I don't have a plan. I don't know the plan yet. Can we try that as a story? I'm really curious to try that because it's just a story. It's not true. Okay. Yeah. So I want you to start out with, on a scale from 1 to 10, how true is that story, or how big is that fear? So if it's a fear, 10 would be it's really big. If it's a story, how true it is, 10. So I don't have a plan. 10 is like, that's true. I don't have a plan. The fear is like, I fear people would judge me. 10 would be like, yep, I definitely have that fear. I feel it in my body. So drop it in the chat so I know where you guys are at. Fear 9, I don't have a plan. Good to notice. Drop it in the chat. I want to show you guys this. So guys, do you guys have or at least if you don't have one, just let me know that you're like because I don't want to leave anybody behind. So just be like, yep, I've got mine. Or if you don't want to drop in the chat, that's fine. Just let me know where you guys are at. Cool. Okay. So start with the first one I want you to notice. Start with, do I know with 100% certainty that that's true? And a really good thing to notice here is if you actually, the answer is yes. Because if the answer is yes, you can't possibly know that. That is your brain freaking out, trying to get in the driver's seat. That is your ego. That is the part of you that's trying to protect you. It's not true. Because the truth is, we could never know that. You can never know the 100% certainty anything. Like, really think about that. You can't actually know with 100% certainty. You can feel into it, you can trust, but you don't know. So I want you to really break that down and notice if that changes the number. And it might just be one number. That's fine, but just notice if it changes. I just want to show you the progression of how this works, what's happening in your brain, and then how it manifests in your body. So drop in the chat what that did. Do I know with 100% certainty that that's true? Okay, so it dropped it a little bit. Okay, the next language pattern is I let go of the misunderstanding that. So insert fear or story. So I let go of the misunderstanding that I don't have a plan or I don't know the plan. I need a plan. And play with the wording, guys. Like, the wording is important. That's why I'm always saying things that sound very similar, but they're not exactly the same, because your brain will interpret them differently. Like Ginger was saying something earlier, and I had to ask clarifying information because I was interpreting it different than what she was. So it's really, really important to play around with the words and be like, that's it. That's the word. That's the question. That's the story. Play around with it. Okay. So insert fear story here. When the truth is, and then say your truth, not my truth, not what you should say. So what this might sound like is, let me think of like a fear or like something that's been coming up lately. And one that's been coming up for me a lot lately is I don't trust myself to hold everything that's coming with a big business. That's been my fear. Like, I don't trust myself to hold everything. I already am like, 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 oh my gosh. So mine sounds something like, I let go of the misunderstanding that I can't trust myself to hold more in my business. When the truth is that the more I make, the more I hold, the more support I can hire. And because I truly desire to feel supported, right? So it's like, oh, right, that's actually the way through to get more support. And I have to keep reminding myself of that. And immediately it went from like a 10 to a 3. I'm now like a 3. Like, it was pretty true to me. Even though I logically know it's not true, it felt true. So you guys try it. Let me know in the chat where you're at so I don't go too fast for you guys. Okay, I need a language switch. I always say opportunities come to me. What is something to replace opportunity with something that delivers money? Well, let's not get, so here's what's really funny about this. What is your truth? Because you already know the answer to this. What is your truth? It might not even be anything about opportunity. Are you on the truth part? Is that what you're getting caught up on? And if opportunity doesn't feel good to you, money comes to me easily. I think for you, I would even try what I desire comes to me easily. Like, I feel like there's something around you not getting what you desire easily. And maybe that's not true. Play around with that, but it might just be your desire. Yeah. Yeah. Play around with that. Because, guys, if you're identified as somebody that doesn't get what they desire easily or doesn't hold on to it, you're going to keep finding evidence that that's true. And then you're going to keep taking action from that evidence that that's true and keep creating your reality that that's true. Are you guys like, do you see this? Like, please tell me you see this very clearly. You are in reality creation right now, every day. And you can choose something differently. Your stories are just stories. They're not real. And the only reason that they hold any merit is because they feel real. And that tells your brain the information that, oh yeah, it's real. See? And then your body's like, oh yeah, this is real. And then your brain's like, see, I told you. And they just keep like cycling. They're just stories. And the only thing that we have to do is just get in control of our brain and let our brain know that, hey, you're not in control anymore. I trust my body. I trust my wisdom. You are there to keep me safe. You can still be here to consult, but you're no longer in the driver's seat. And then your only job from there is to just feel good about what you want. Guys, it's the most simple thing in the world. We just love to overcomplicate it. We're humans. Humans love to complicate things. Our brains are literally wired to find problems to solve. And we've evolved past needing to solve problems for survival. So now our brains just create problems. Like, how many of you have ever been like so stressed out about something and it wasn't even really a problem? We just needed something to be stressed out about because we're so used to being stressed out. It's not real. It's not real. And that's not to say that, guys, yes, money, like we need money to pay our bills and have our house or whatever. But like, I understand that that is real. I get it when people tell me that. But by you thinking it's real and stressing yourself out about it isn't actually fixing the problem. Maybe in the short term, it might kick you in gear to get like a short stint of money, but it's not sustainable. It kicks you in that fight or flight, and then you go hard to get your money, but then you crash out because you're tired, and then you're like, oh my God, I can't hold more. And it actually backfires. I want you to really see that. That is not a sustainable way to get what you want. And I want you to really learn how to step into your power that and reframe it as I am creating my reality. I am getting what I want. It's just that a part of me, a really strong part of me, a part of me that wants to feel safe, it I'm that part of me is getting what she wants. And when you really truly see this and you really truly just relinquish control of and just understand that you are getting what you want, it's a lot easier to be like, I'm getting what I want either way. Can I just choose a different story? Can I choose a different path? Is all this making sense to everybody? If it's not, let me know. Yeah, right? Powerful. I want, like, more than anything, I want you guys to walk away from any work you do in my world with that you guys have what you need to get what you want today. You don't have to heal anymore. You don't have to do anything else. You just have to choose that that's who you are. Now we do this healing work because that the truth is that if we don't do this healing work, it's going to come up either way, whether it comes up now before you get what you want, or after you get what you want, or while you're getting what you want. So in my world, you get what you want now, and then the shit comes up, we deal with it then, right? Quit telling yourself that you have to deal with it before you can get what you want. I do this work because it's important to rewire those neural nets, like these belief systems that make you feel a certain way. It's important that you don't have to do it to get what you want, right? I get what I want either way. So choose to want something beautiful. Or, yeah, beautiful. But for you, I think it's also something with the ease. Like, I choose to just let it be easier. I want it to be easy. And then you have to ask yourself, is that actually what you desire? Or is there a part of you that doesn't desire for it to be easy? I know there's a part of me that really loves to make things hard. Like, she loves it. And I just have to let her love it. Like, I just have to let her just like get off on the fact that she's just making everything so complicated, and it's adorable and cute and sometimes ridiculous. And I just let her go. I'm like, whatever, right? Like, cool. Because she loves to make things hard. She loves to be dramatic. She loves to make every little thing so fucking complicated. And I can't just relinquish her. She's a part of me. I have to just let her, and I just take her and I let her sit in the back seat and I let her have her moment, and she freaks out and whatever. It is what it is, right? But it's okay that those parts of us are there. We just don't let them drive the car, right? I mean, if I wanted easy, I would have been a housewife. Good to notice. So what is it that you want? I'm really curious, or desire, right? What is it that you desire? Is it just more money? Is it fame? Okay, but for you, I love this. I love this. For you, I want more fame, but I don't want to attract all these CD people. Well, guys, we can look at any famous person or any powerful person, and look at all the CD people around them. That is something that we have to navigate. Of like, if you have a fear around that, you're not going to let yourself experience it. So, what's the reframe on it? Do I trust? This is the reframe. I trust myself if that happens. I trust myself how to navigate it. I trust myself to get the support I need in it. Like, I trust myself to have tight enough boundaries where it won't matter. Like, what is it for you? Right? Get clear. For me, it's been hardcore boundaries lately. I've been really on the boundary train, and personal life too. I'm just like, I am at capacity. I've got to figure out how to show up in a way that honors my boundaries and my capacity. But yours might be different. So just let me know where you guys are at with this, because I want to just close off by showing you something really cool. So let me know, like, if you're ready for the next part, because I want to end with this one thing, and I want to just show you more than anything that you are in control, you are creating your reality, and that you can have what you want right now. So be like, I'm ready. Let me know where you're at. Okay, thank you. I was like, is everybody ready? Okay. So now all I want you to do is all of this stuff that we've talked about. I want you to imagine it's just floating above you. It's gone. It's just all of it. We're just in a neutral space. It's all gone. Now I want you to close your eyes and imagine that bubble of what you desired, the amount of money. Where is it now? What does it look like now? How does it feel now? I want you to just see like how much you are in control about how you feel about what you want. And we didn't do anything really. I didn't really do a lot of change work with you guys. We just got to the root of what your stories were. And sometimes that's enough. Ready. So let me know where your all's bubble is at. How does it feel? Feels good and natural. That's the most important thing is that it feels natural and it feels safe. Okay. But it moved for you. And so your homework for the next week is how do I get that bubble to come close? And not only come close, but it's how to get it to be in my experience, feel natural and normal and safe. That's all you get to do. And you can tap on it, you can journal on it, you can actually move it. Like I manipulate mine. I'll literally make it big, make it small, change colors, and it always gives me feedback. I'm like, oh, that didn't work. What is that? What, like it you can like for me, that works. This visualization stuff works for me. It's how my brain is wired. Like it helps me. Like I'll start stretching it or I'll step into it or I'll, move into it or whatever. And it always gives me feedback and I'll say, okay, what do I need to feel for this to feel safe, for this to feel like home, for this to feel like I can trust it to stay and I trust myself to hold it. And a lot of you, this is the one I'm going to leave you with, and we'll pick up on it next week. But I want to leave you with, do I trust myself to hold it? Because I feel like so many of us have that. And it might be hold the money, hold the fame, hold the success. It might be that, but do I trust myself to hold the money that comes with it? Because a lot of us will spend money as fast as we can get it, and then we beat ourselves up for it. And then we don't want to keep going in that cycle. So we block ourselves from having more of it. But it also might be, well, do I trust myself to hold the power that comes with it? Do I trust myself to hold the team that I'm going to have to hire that comes with it? Just notice, do you trust yourself with it? Do you trust yourself to hold it? Yeah. And it might take time. Like you might not cut through the resistance right now today, but can you work on it for the next week and see how close you can get it and how much you can make it feel like home and how much you can be like, wait a minute, this can be a part of me and my reality and my experience. And just tell yourself, I'm going to clock my resistance. I'm going to notice what creates the resistance and I'm going to have a plan to navigate the resistance from moving it closer and to feeling like it's natural and normal in my experience. So drop that in the chat if that makes sense. If you're like, yep, I got my homework. I know what to do for the next week. Let me know. Yeah, good. And I'm curious if and notice over today and tomorrow, the next couple of days, if any sort of like ding, ding, ding ideas drop in. Because when we get close to our desires are intelligent. We wouldn't have them if we couldn't experience them. And if we allow ourselves to get really close to the experience of it, it feels safe, natural, and normal. A lot of times our brain will allow us to bypass the conscious and access that index information that'll actually get us to the next level. So Renee, Ginger, just let me know where you guys are at so I know that you're like feel supported and you know what to do. And then just bear with me over the next few days while I kind of get back into my business coming off my birthday week, if you guys don't mind. Okay, great. I hope this was helpful. And like I said, I really just want you guys to see that you are in control and how you feel about what you want matters more than what you're doing about what you want. And it just gets to be that easy. So much love to you guys. I'll see you guys soon. And yes, Ginger, I wrote it down. I made a note. I didn't write it down. I made a mental note to make sure that I get that information to you guys. Had good sales, but these last 2 weeks I've been so busy with other stuff. Yeah, yeah. And we've talked. I feel like maybe that was your story on last Tuesdays or last Thursday's call. But you had said something. I can't remember when we were talking, but you had said something along the lines of like, I'm too busy. And you called yourself out on it. You said maybe that's a story. Because guys, if we're at capacity, we won't allow ourselves to experience more of it. So get clear on it. For you, Heather, it's like, am I at capacity or is this a defense mechanism? It'll tell you. Just tap into your body with the sensation of I'm too busy, I'm too busy. Is this real? Am I actually at capacity? Or do I have a fear around what I want, what I desire? Right? Okay. So let me know how it goes, guys. And I will see you next week. Much love to you guys. Happy Thursday. Ciao.